So, hello everyone. Welcome to today's class. Today is our 6th week, and then I want to go straight to the agenda for today as we normally do. So, agenda include community news. So, if you have any information that you want to share with us, I forgot to even add, class activity. We will do class activity, 2 of them. Then after that, I'll do the normal presentation. By this time around, I'm going to just go through it with speed, right? So that at least for those who are not able to join us today may also follow what we did and so on and so forth. So that's by the way. In terms of my community news, I just want to remind you that I think the assignment is due today, right? The
Yeah,
assignment
yeah.
is due today. And fine, if you're able to submit it today, if not by Friday or tomorrow, close of the day, you should submit it. At least 1 day extension is not bad. I'll start downloading it weekend and then start the grading because I have other assignment too that is due. Next week is a reading week, so I think you have enough time to also rest and prepare for, I think, other midterms. I hope some of you have some midterms uh, to write right after the reading week, so you have enough time to do that. But before I start today's class, let us just kind of recap what we did last week, right? But sorry, I forgot to ask, do you have any questions, comments, suggestions, anything that you want to ask? Let me see the chat. Any comments, questions, suggestions, anything?
When is the
Yes,
midterm exam?
we are not writing midterm in this class. We have 2 assignments and then the final exams. Are we good?
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you too. Shauna?
Just kind of building off of that.
Yeah.
I'm feeling very nervous about having the entire semester and then having an exam. I know you said before that you were going to post specific slides
Mm-hmm.
or lectures that we would have the exam on. It's just so much content.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand a lot of it.
Yeah.
But again, yeah, I mean, usually I ask questions if I don't understand, but I mean, there's always
Yeah,
room
yeah.
for improvement. Yeah, Ashley I think it was Ashley just said a review, maybe closer to exam day, we could have like a review of maybe what's going to be on the exam if it's not the entire
Absolutely.
semester.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was feeling the exact same way. It's a lot of content to then just be like at the end of it, all right, let's go. So I
Yeah.
would love an in-depth review of like specifics of what would be on the exam.
Yeah. But normally for those of you who have taken courses with me, I don't bring everything. I give you slides that you should
No, for
focus
sure,
on.
but just like a little bit of guidance of what would be on
Yeah.
the exam.
So that's why I started something like you yourself developing some questions, right? And then we will use, provided you, I mean, develop a very standard question, I will use some of them and add some of what I will also develop in addition. So, sure, you will have the guidance. Don't worry about that. Yes, any questions, comment? Jessica, do you want to ask question?
No, I'm
Not
fine.
now. Okay. All right. All right. So, let's look at what we did last week. Last week, we discussed about single system research design. And I mentioned the fact that it's one way we can conduct, for example, evaluation. The other way is what we call group research design. And group research design is what we are going to do today. Of course, we will focus on, because, I mean, we are beginners, right? So we will focus on taking one case rather than the multiple cases, as, I mean, we do mostly in the group research design. So take note of that. We mentioned about the notations last week. So in group single system research design, when you see A, it means the baseline, right? The data that shows what things are or were before an intervention. Then we are what we call the design phase, which is the B, or the intervention phase. And then if different intervention, it could be even, for example, control, right? Or it could be placebo or whatever. That will also be named as C. So who can tell me what does ABA means based on what we did last week?
Like, do you want like an example?
No, just mention what does A and B, C, ABA mean
Well,
as a design.
so like your baseline intervention, your baseline?
Okay, baseline, intervention, and the removal of the baseline, right? To
Yeah.
get removal of the intervention to get a baseline. What about ABAC?
Well, that would be your baseline, your intervention, removal of baseline, and introduction to a new intervention.
Absolutely. Are we good? Okay, perfect. So I think now we can move on. Before we move on, I want you to engage in activity, right? One, I have a worksheet uploaded in the Bright Space. I'm going to divide you into 4 groups, 4 solid groups. If you fall within group 1, then you do the activity 1. We are going to look at what we call questions and hypotheses. Is that okay? Questions and hypotheses. I just want you to brainstorm. That's why I'm doing it before we go to the substantive discussion. So identify which one are questions and which ones are what do we call hypotheses. So you can state Q in the, because I have the left column and the right column. So you can write if it is question Q, if it is hypothesis H. And then I want you to try and convert the questions into hypotheses and hypotheses into questions. Let's give it a try. I'm not looking for any perfect thing. I want you to brainstorm, right? Right after that, there's another question. I'll give you a whole lot, 30 minutes. What I want you to do is that you review the slides yourself, right? Note down where you have questions or challenges so that if I start doing my presentation, I can highlight those areas. And after that, I want you to assign slide numbers to each group. So group 1, you are going to review slides number 7 to 14. Group 2, slides number 15 to 24. Group 3, slides number, what do we call? Oh, sorry. 25 to 34. And then group 4, slides number 35 to 42. Right? Briefly. Then out of that, I want you to develop 5 multiple choice questions out of the slide. At least you can even assign 1 question from 1 slide, right? Multiple choice questions. Let's do that. When we finish, I'll put everything together and then put it there for you for preparation for toward the exams and so on and so on. And when it's time for us to do revision until we can have something to work on. Any questions so far?
Sorry, the slides that you're referencing, like you mean in the week 6 presentation itself, or where am I finding these slides?
This slides is there, the week 6.
Okay, so slides 7 to 14 in the week 6 presentation you updated.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Any other question? Are you okay with the explanation? Okay, so then let me divide you. So I think you can use 30 minutes for both assignment, and when we come, I will go through it, quickly so that we can wrap up nicely. So let me divide you into 5 groups. Sorry, 4 groups.
Dr. Demi,
Yes.
I want to ask you because there is no slides number page for the slides. So I'm wondering how we're gonna.
No, 1 minute. Sorry.
Sure.
There are numbers in the slides. It's 44 in total.
Okay, thanks.
Can you repeat the question again? There are no numbers?
There's no numbers like on the top or bottom of the.
But when you open it, you see, right?
Yeah, like
Yes,
if you
yes.
on the
Yeah.
top of it, it says as you're scrolling through them, the page numbers change. I don't know how to explain it, but it's the page numbers aren't on the slides, but it's like on the top of the.
Yeah, when you open it halfway. So let me show you. 1 minute. Let me stop creating it first. What do we call? Okay. So do you see the side? Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
So
Yes.
let's go to, slide 7. What is slide 7? This one. Are you okay now?
I posted a screenshot in the chat if anybody wants to see a reference of where we're talking about.
Okay, wonderful. Good. So that's great. Okay, so let's start. Where am I? Okay, here. Here, and then here. Okay, wonderful. So let me divide it into groups now, quickly. Okay. I've created the groups. So now let me open it. Please join the group and let's start the engagement. Okay. Okay. 30 minutes. It's now 7:26 plus 30, 7:56. Emma, did you just join? Let me add you to room 3. Samantha, did you just join?
No, I was trying to get in my group, but I couldn't hear them. I was talking, but they couldn't hear me and I couldn't hear them. So I was trying to get
Oh,
back. Can you put me back in the group? I was just trying
okay,
to figure
sure.
it out.
Which group is that?
Group 4.
Okay, I'm coming.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Group 4. Um, you are still in a group 4. I don't know for some reason.
Let me see if I can.
Okay, you are back. Okay, let's wait for others to join. Okay, I think we are all back now. So, group 1, let's start. Do you have something to show, or you just want to mention what you did? You want to show
I can share my screen. Oh,
Okay, good.
I can. So I'm logged on my phone. I'm logged on my phone and my computer. So I've written it down like on here. So maybe I
Okay.
can't share my screen. I'll just read it if that's
Okay.
okay.
Sure, that's fine.
And then I'll just send it to you after.
Okay.
So do you want me to just kind of read like a couple of the questions that we had?
Mention one hypothesis and one question. Then you state one of the questions that you set. That's all. We don't have enough time, so let's wrap up quickly. This just to prepare you as to how you'll be able to.
Now I'm worried that we did it wrong.
No. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
It's a brainstorming. I'm not giving any grade for that. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so I'll read one of our questions then. So general principles of group research designs have their own distinct terminology and shorthand. In this context, what does the letter O stand for or mean? And then we have like a list, or like A means an observation or assessment period, B referring to errors introduced by the researchers' expectations. And then we just kind of like have a
Yeah,
couple more.
that's
Is
good.
that what you were
Yeah,
referring to?
that's a good question.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that
And
was a
then
good
do
question.
you want me to read another or just one?
No, that's okay.
Okay.
Because of time.
Okay.
What about I asked you to identify questions and hypotheses? Did you identify question and hypothesis? Or you didn't do that?
We didn't, but I'm sure we could all kind of as a group do it really quick.
Anyone?
Sorry,
Group
what
did.
are we looking for?
Yeah, the hypothesis and then the research questions. I
Group
gave you the
3 did.
table. Yeah.
We did it. Wanda, do you want to read it or?
Yeah,
read
we
one,
did it in
read
group
one
3.
question and one hypothesis.
Okay.
Okay, just one question. Just one. No, one hypothesis. Because of time.
One hypothesis?
Yes.
Okay, so 90% of social workers get jobs within 3 months of graduation.
Yes, absolutely. It is my
then-
hypothesis. Uh-huh.
And then we switched it to what percent of social workers obtain employment with 3 months of graduation?
That's great. That's a great question. Wonderful. Good job. Good job. Group 2, quickly. We don't have enough time, so
So sorry, do you want me to go through all of them or just
no. Just one. One hypothesis
Okay.
and
So just one then. So the question is, at the 3rd grade, children who earlier attended Head Start in our city will be earning statistically higher grades than similar children who did not attend Head Start. And we said that was a hypothesis. So our research question was, how does participation in Head Start increase the grades in how does participation increase the grades in students who participated in Head Start program versus the children who haven't?
Good job. Good job. Do you have your questions? Did you set the questions, the multiple choice?
You want me to say?
Yeah, read one. Only one.
Read one. Okay. The weakness of POTUS only designs are A, non-random assignments between group, B, groups may or may not be similar, C, cannot assume that group that got better due to the program or intervention, or D, all of the above.
That's a good question. So what was the answer?
I don't know.
No, you didn't say. Wow, you have to say that. You have to add the answers because I'm giving you back for preparation for you to learn.
The answer is D, all of the above, and I'm in the same group.
Okay, so that's good. So you will send it back to me. All of you, the group, you send it to me. I'll put them together, and then upload it. Okay.
So
Yeah,
wait,
group 3.
are these questions for the exam you're going to be using, or?
It is a practice, right? We will use it for preparation.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, question group 3.
Okay, so one of the questions that we made was.
You mentioned already.
What's that?
You already responded to.
Yeah, we're group 3.
Are you not the one who mentioned the first one, group 1, or is different?
No,
It's different.
because-
It's different.
Oh,
it's a different
okay.
question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Which of the following is described as the best protection against alternative explanations in research?
Wonderful. Good
A,
question.
increasing the sample size after data collection. B, controlling for alternative explanations in advance. C, ignoring unexpected problems during the study. D, reducing the number of study groups.
Okay, wonderful. And what's the answer?
B, controlling for alternative explanations in advance.
Okay, that's great. Group 4.
Yes. Which document first? Does it matter?
Yeah, the hypothesis first.
All right. So one of them was, does the amount of time spent on social media affect the self-esteem of teenagers? That was section A.
So
We
that
identified.
is question.
Yeah. So we identified that as a question.
Hypothesis. Yeah. I'm looking for hypothesis.
I'm trying to tell you. So that was identified as a question, and then we turned it into a hypothesis.
Okay, then say it's an hypothesis. Good.
The time spent on social media affects teenagers' self-esteem.
Okay.
Do you want another one?
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. What about your question? Your research question? No, not research question. The multiple choice questions. You do set anyone? Any question at all?
Yep. What does R represent? A, assessment in groups 1 and 2, same time. Assessments given to all 4 groups, same time. Random assignment to one of the 4 conditions. 2 with treatment, or none of the above. And the answer
Okay.
is C, random assignment to one of the 4 conditions to the treatment.
Oh, okay, good. That's good. So this is how you prepare when I give you the slides to concentrate on. You ask yourself questions out of that so that when you see the question, it makes it easier for you to explain or to respond. Okay. Let's quickly. I think we've spent 1 hour already. What I'll do is that do you need a break or we should just do 30 minutes and then come and finish up?
Break for me, please.
Break? Okay, let's go for break 10
Break.
minutes. Yeah, let's go for 10 minutes break. Then we'll come back quickly.
If anybody's sticking around for the break, you should read the chat because I think we should all become aware of what I posted.
Somebody shared a very important information about fees something, right? That you can fee waiver or something.
The chat, I think it was about OSAP.
Is it about OSAP?
Yeah. That the loans will be more and the grants will be less.
Oh.
For government.
Just saw it on the news just now.
So yeah, Ford just announced that starting this year, the tuition cap freeze from, I believe, 2018 in place has been lifted. And then further OSAP loans moving forward, instead of it majority being grants, it will be the opposite, where majority will be loans and will only be able to receive up to 25% grants.
Wow. So you are going to pay more then, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Like that's crazy.
Government cut always affects.
Oh, especially when you're in Ford's corner.
I know. Okay, so let's go for 5-minute break. We come and then I'll start and we'll go for another break. Then we'll wrap up. I want to go through the slides very brief quickly. Is that okay?
Yes, okay.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, lovely.
Sir, how do you want us to send this to you? Just to email?
Yeah, just email. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Do you want like an APA title page and all that, or just
No, just
members?
anything. No.
Thanks, Shauna.
Okay, I think we can start because of time, right? We have a very limited time. So let me quickly start. So welcome back, everybody. I mean, I hope the activity that you did, and I mean, enrich your knowledge and also provided opportunity for you to interact with each other. So that's a good thing. Last week, we discussed about single system research design, which we mentioned that you take one outcome measure and then measure it repeatedly. And then you introduce intervention to see whether the intervention can cause any changes in the outcome measure. Today, we are looking at the group research design, of course, but despite the fact that we are looking at the group, you will still work with a single item instead of the multiple items, right? Because the multiple item is more complex. And as, I mean, you are now beginners or you are starting to get to know more about evaluation. We said we have to learn how to crawl before we run. So I'll just, go around that. So group research design is also very important method of conducting an evaluation. It's one of the most rigorous type. It is arranged in hierarchy from complex, less complex, or from less complex, complex, and more complex, right? The more complex one are labeled as quasi-experiment or experimental research design. So what means is that we can have about three. What we have like pre-experiment being the least. Then we go to quasi-experiment, which is the medium or the intermediate. And then the complex one is the experimental design. So single program should be chosen. So how do we do that? How do we start? Starting an outcome evaluation. How should we go about that? First of all, you look at for outcome measure. So what are you going to measure? For example, is it food security? Is it mental health, right? Is it poverty level? Whatever you are going to measure, right? You select it and think about the criteria that will be, differentiate as a good program from, that differentiate a good program from a bad one. So what are some of the characteristics of a good evaluation program? Can anyone mention one? A good program? Characteristics or features of a good program? We did it, last, I think 2 weeks or so.
It's
Maybe if I
easy to.
Stereo works.
Oh,
I'm not asking about example, the characteristics, maybe features. How does a good program look like? Yes, on it?
I think it's easy to use.
Is it to use?
Um,
Okay.
is that what I have?
Okay, it makes sense. But I'm looking at Jennifer, go on.
What about demand?
The demand.
Yeah.
Okay, the demand for program, yeah, it's a good one because if program is not needed, where you introduce, nobody will participate. James?
Achieves desired outcomes.
Achieve desired outcome, okay, is one. Chinidima?
It will be specific and measurable.
Okay, specific and measurable. Shauna?
Effective staff.
Wonderful. So have a good, staff. You should also have a good funding sources, right? It should have a good funding, good staff. Should be based on sound theoretical and conceptual framework. So we discussed all this, before. Start by thinking about, so if you want to conduct an outcome evaluation using the group research design, you start thinking about a single indicator, right? Because, We can use multiple, but since we are beginning, let's work with the single indicator. Once useful outcome indicator, maybe that the dependent variable has been chosen, formulate a research question or hypothesis for to focus the evaluation. So if it is food insecurity that you want to measure, or if it is, mental health, can you give me any example of outcome measure? Food insecurity, mental health, shelter, poverty levels, all these are something that we can, evaluate, right? So once you get that indicator, what you have to do is to formulate research question as well as hypothesis. And any question? I can see some text messages. Oh, not text. Let me check first. I'm going to say percentage of. Okay. Evidence-based. Okay, yes, it must be evidence-based, Olivia. A good program must be evidence-based. Yes. So research questions usually, please, I want to go faster because of time, okay? So a research question is always couched in a neutral way, right? As if you don't know and you are going to search. Then hypothesis rather predict what the outcome may be. Is that okay? So a research question should be neutral and it should also be broad so that you can explore. However, hypothesis is narrow and focused and predict a given outcome. And in the hypothesis, we have two. We have the null and the alternate hypothesis. Is that okay? So null hypothesis always is couched in a negative way. So, for example, you can say income has no effect on food insecurity. That's null hypothesis. Then the alternate hypothesis will be the opposite. So how can you convert this null hypothesis to alternate? Income does not have any effect on food security. Convert it to alternate hypothesis. Who can do that?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Income does not have effect on food security. This is now. I want you to convert it to alternate hypothesis. That's the opposite.
Income has
Income has effect on food security.
Yes, as simple as that. Yes. So the alternate would be income has effect on food security. So at the end of your study or your evaluation, when you found out that income has effect on food insecurity, what you do is that you reject your null hypothesis and accept the alternate hypothesis or the vice versa. Is that okay? Let me run quickly. Now, let's look at the design, outcome evaluation design. But before we do that, let's explain what a design is. A design is a plan which dictates when and from whom a measurement will be gathered during the course of an evaluation. So it describes the key features and procedure to be to be followed in conducting an evaluation and make this possible to estimate cost, time, and rigorousness of the evaluation. So when we talk about design, it's like a building design. If you want to employ a mason, right, to build a house for you, without giving the mason a plan, the mason will not be able to know what kind of building are you looking for, right? Do you want, kitchen? Do you want, 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom, and so on and so forth? So it's the same way. When we talk about design, it tells you plan out what you are going to do in the evaluation process. So that in case, you happen not to be around, somebody can use the plan to conduct the evaluation, even in your absence. So that's something that we should take note. So design follow from a research question or hypothesis and evaluation purpose based on information which is needed about the program and useful to make a list of all the relevant questions and consider available resources, agency constraint. So basically, the design will follow your research question because your research question determines what you are looking for, right? The information you are seeking is based on your research question that or the hypothesis that you can, develop the plan in order to be able to conduct the evaluation, for example. So let's look at some of the general principles of group research design. Do you remember when we were doing the single system research design, we mentioned some notations, right? So we said A, B, and C. What did the A stand for? In the single system research design.
So
what does A
baseline?
The baseline, absolutely. A stand for baseline. And what does B stand for?
The intervention.
The intervention. And then what does C stand for?
A new intervention.
A new intervention. Absolutely perfect. But when we come to group research design, we also have some notations, right? So for example, letter O always means observation. O, observation. So this one is even simple. O means observation. Letter S refers to intervention. So the counterpart of letter S in single system research design is B. So here, S is the intervention. And other letters, maybe Y, Z, can represent other intervention. And this other intervention can be a placebo or even another rare intervention. Any questions so far? Ashley, you said you did not know anything about that. Are you following the discussion now?
Yeah, I'm following.
Wonderful.
It's just throwing me off because, like I said, I usually read the slides in before class, so that way.
Okay.
So I'm just catching up right now because they were just posted. But I'm following. Sorry. Yes.
Okay. Good. So good. So in group research design, right? Yeah, Chidima.
Yes, I have a question. So for what you're saying, the notation in group and that of single study design, they are different.
Yes.
And they cannot be interchanged. You cannot use the notation in group. You cannot use it in single.
No. You cannot do that. So they are different. That makes them different for you to be able to differentiate them. Yes.
So ABCs are for the SSRD, and then
yes.
And then the XOs are for the GRDs.
Yes.
Okay.
And as we are going forward, you can see more complex, designs. We may have R stand for random, assessment, assignment, and so on and so forth. So we get to know more about that. So when you are doing like multiple, programs or intervention, what you observe is that we are what we call the dependent variable. In research, we have the dependent variable. It is the outcome measure, whatever you are measuring. So if it is food security, the food security status will be the outcome variable, and it is the dependent variable here. And there are what we call independent variables. So in program evaluation, independent variables are the interventions. Are we okay? Yes, actually.
So would the dependent variable be like the number of participants, and the independent variable would be like the percentage found in whatever your research is?
It makes sense, but not exactly like. So let me give you an example. So let's say I'm looking at food insecurity status of this community, right? When I determine the food security status, or maybe 30% or 40% are food insecure. That is what I'm measuring. That's the dependent variable I've measured. But when you are looking for the independent variables, you are looking at factors that cause, for example, the food insecurity. Is that okay? So we can look at income. We can look at maybe employment. We can look at maybe dependency ratio. So for example, if someone is not working, unemployed, the person will not get income and will not be able to be food secure. Do you get that?
I believe so. Thank you.
Yeah, good. So the interventions. So in this case, O can be the dependent variable and S can be the independent variable because the S is the intervention, O is, what we are measuring, that observation. Did you get that? Are we good?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So when we are conducting group research design, right, there are three features that we have to bear in mind. One, whether or not pre-test assessments are made of the outcome measure before an intervention, meaning did you conduct a pre-test or did you assess the outcome before you introduce the intervention? Two, whether or not various types of control groups are used. In experimental design, we are what we call control. So control basically are the group that, for example, they don't receive the intervention, right? We have the intervention group or the experimental group, and then we have the control group. The control group are those that don't receive the intervention, right? Yes, Ashley?
So is it similar to like blind, like drug testing where somebody's given like a pill as a placebo and somebody's given the actual pill? So
Absolutely.
so the control group, that would be a control group, like both of those instances?
Absolutely, perfectly. So those that get the placebo are the control group because it's not the real medicine, right? And then those that get the real medicine are the experimental group. So that's perfect. Whether or not group are constructed using random assessment. So how did you put the groups into either control or the experimental group? If you do it randomly, right, it means that the experimental design is strong. If you don't do the random assignment, then it means that the experimental design is very weak. So we say weak experimental design lack all these features, the three that I mentioned. Yes?
Sorry, I just want to make sure I'm understanding. So going off of my example with the placebo medication and the real medication, would an example of like constructing using random versus not, so like if you just pooled a bunch of participants together, not knowing what they were actually about to do, and then like interviewing participants saying, have you ever heard of Tylenol? And then like giving them Tylenol, so they're already aware of like the side effects and like the goals of what Tylenol does, rather than somebody that went in blind, not knowing they took Tylenol. Is that what you're saying?
Okay. Is that the random assignment? Is that are you talking about the random assignment?
Yeah,
that I mentioned? Okay.
The random would be people not knowing they're taking Tylenol, and then the constructed would be like if you interview people saying, do you know what Tylenol is, before giving it to them.
It makes sense, but not, the same. So, I said we need two groups, right? One group, let's say assuming you are 30 in this class, and I want to divide it into two groups, one to be control and one to be what? The experimental group. If I want to do it, let's say, randomly, what I'll do is that I can write in a piece of paper R and then C, and then fold them together, right? And mix them, right? Mix them. And ask every one of you to come and pick one. So if you pick R, then you go to the what? The experimental group. If you put C, then you go to the control group. Did you get that?
Yes, thank you.
So that's the random assessment. It means that every member has equal opportunity to either belong to the control or to belong to the experimental group. So that is what we call the random assessment. So we are what we call pre-experimental design. I mentioned there are three categories of group research design. One, pre-experimental design. Then we have quasi-experimental design, and we have the experimental design. So these are three levels. And this level depends on their complexity and how accurately they can determine, their findings. For example, so pre-experimental design is considered as the least, among them, and it occurs to, it's, let's say, subservient to, for example, the experimental design and the quasi-experimental design. But of course, it provides some important information, right? Like it can help you to know whether the client are satisfied with the service that you are providing, or what is the status of the client after they have participated in a program. But it is not rigorous as compared to the experimental design. Any questions so far? Any questions, comments? Okay, let's go. We have types of pre-test posters, right? The pre-experimental design, we have type. One is what we call the most common one is the one group posters design. So mostly it is the commonest one or the elementary one. And this involves providing an intervention, right? And then you take an observation to know whether the intervention is yielding any results. Is that okay? So the diagram of this is called, is denoted as S and then O, which S represents, S represents, O is the observation, and then the S is what you are measuring, right? The intervention. Do we notice we mentioned S is the intervention and O is the observation in the beginning, right? So this is the diagram for one group post-test only design. Is that okay? So SO, meaning you provide, for example, intervention, and then at a point you stop, right, and take a measurement and see. So let me give you an example. You want to know whether a group of people is smokers. You want to introduce maybe an intervention that will prevent people from smoking. Is that okay? So assuming you started with, let's say, 8 people, right? And then by the end of the 3 months, 4 people were able to stop smoking. What is the success rate of your intervention? Anyone? Should I repeat what I said?
Yeah, can you repeat that?
Yes, I said you are working with 8 chain smokers. You want them to stop smoking. So you introduce an intervention, maybe nicotine patches or whatever. At the end of the 3 months, out of the 8, 4 stop smoking. What is your success rate? Or what is the success rate of your intervention?
It would be half.
50%.
Absolutely. Perfect. Good. I'm happy that you got it. So 50%. Okay. But of course, this has also, some issues. For example, success can better be measured if participants survey 6 months to a year after the completion of the intervention. Why do you think we have to? Let's say, assuming somebody participated in the program and the person stopped smoking. Why do you think we have to go and ask the person after 6 months to observe whether the person has really stopped or not? Why do you think it's necessary?
It looks at the long-term effects.
What?
I was going to say the same thing as Kenzie, so you go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just saying that it's measuring the long-term outcome.
Okay, absolutely perfect. So because sometimes somebody stop smoking at the end of the program, the person will rest for 2 or 3 months, then the person will go back to smoking, right? And it could be even worse. So you want to measure the long-term outcome of that. And this also, experimental design tells little about the different shared effect of the intervention, and clients are not normally randomly assigned. Is that okay? In this type of intervention. That's why it is called the least robust one. Jessica, do you have a question? Or not yet? Okay. But it's useful in consumer satisfaction studies and various follow-up studies. So, for example, if you have an intervention and you just want to know whether the participants are satisfied with the kind of services that you provide, you can do that. But it's not, very rigorous, as I want you to know. The second intervention is what we call the same in the pre-test session. The post-test only design with non-equivalent group. So here is a modification of the first one that we looked at. But in this case, you are going to add what we call control group. Are we okay? Yeah, with this one, so let me use this an example of the smokers. So if you have 30 smokers, you should also have 30 non-smokers to control, or other group as a control. Is that okay? You'll be able to, do the comparison. And the diagram for this is X, meaning the intervention, O, meaning the what? The observation, and then these dotted lines, meaning the groups were not randomly assigned, or the groups are not randomly assigned. That's the meaning of the dotted or broken line. Okay, the broken lines. So that's the intervention. The observation group is on top, and then the control is at the bottom. Any question? Any question or no question yet?
So the control group is italicized, that zero?
Yes, yes, exactly.
Okay.
And then the broken line means the groups were not randomly assigned. Is that okay? So take note of that. Broken line between interventions means not randomly assigned. This also has some weaknesses, and one of them because the group are not randomly assigned, or normally we don't randomly assign them, and group may or may not be similar, right? And then cannot assume that the group got better due to the program or intervention. So this is one of the limitations, because there is nothing to compare with, right, in terms of before and after. So it makes it difficult to say that the intervention is solely responsible for the outcome, or the people who stop smoking and so on and so forth. Any question? But despite weakness, design can be also informative, right? As compared to others. Then let's look at the third one, which we call the one group pre-test, post-test design. So what does this tell you? What does one group pre and post-test design, what does it tell you? Anyone? As the name suggests.
I was going to say test before and test after.
Perfect. Right? You test before the intervention and you test after the intervention. Is that okay? So if I will use the cigarette smokers, right? First of all, you have to test how many cigarettes do they smoke in a day, right? That's the beginning. Then you introduce the nicotine patches after. Then after some time, you go back and also look at the number of cigarettes that they smoke. So this is pre and post-test design. This is how it is represented. S observation 1, that is the pre-test. Then the intervention is S, and then the observation 2. You observe again. Any question? Any question, comment? No?
Thanks.
Wonderful. It also has some limitation, and one of the limitations is that the design is inadequate when it comes to importance to establish what was intervention alone that produced the improvement, and because design is not very rigorous, cannot rule out any alternative explanation. So the only challenge with this is that, or the limitation is that we cannot wholly assume that is the only the intervention that caused the improvement in case there's improvement. Is that okay? Jessica, it seems something is not clicking. Do you want to ask a question?
Yes, I was thinking like, so if there's improvement, this is, we cannot claim that this is the only reason of the improvement.
Exactly.
Okay, now I got it. Yeah.
Because there could be, some other reason, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Wonderful. Good. So now we move from the pre-experimental design. We are now going to the quasi-experimental design. So what is the difference between the two? The pre-experimental design, there is no random assessment and there's no use of control. Do you get that? There's no random assessment, first of all. But with this one, the quasi-experimental design is a little bit, that's the intermediate, right? We have the least, intermediate, and the high. The high is the experimental design. Is that okay? With this one, there is no random assessment. But when you go to the experimental design, there is a random assessment, control, and other. But this also use control. But the other one does not. Okay, so let's look at the quasi-experimental tend to require more planning and more intensive involvement with the control, right? May result in more data to analyze, more expensive, because you have to take a little bit of a number of data before you can get the results, and then better than the pre-experimental design, but not as the experimental design. So this is an intermediate form of experimental design. So when we talk about quasi, it's like pseudo experiment. When we say pseudo experiment, it's like it's not true experiment, right? That's the meaning of the pseudo experiment. So let's look at the example of this type. So don't worry yourself too much about this. Are very simple if you take time to go through it. And it's something that you should know in the university before you move ahead to do your, for example, master's or whatever. And you will not see the usefulness of this today. But when you are doing your master's or you are into a program that require an evaluation, that's where you will not get to know. I don't want you to go through the system and then still complain that you've not done something like that. So let's look at non-equivalent control group. Non-equivalent control group. One of the most used design. It compared two group of people, similar people. One group received intervention and the other do not. Is that okay? So let's look at how the diagram is. O1, that's the first assessment. So this it means there is pre-test and post-test. Do you agree with me? Anyone? Ashley? Is Ashley around?
Yeah, sorry. I was typing out a question. So I was asking, like, in this diagram, so for the example of smokers, so we take two groups of similar smokers and introduce the intervention. So let's say the nicotine patch. So group one stops smoking and group two continues smoking. For our observation 1, we timed all of them to run 100 meters. And then for observation 2, we timed them again to run 100 meters. And the group that stopped smoking, their time increased or like got better than the group that continued smoking all the way through. Does that make sense?
Also, for example, you want to, so it makes sense. So, but the only difference that I want you to know is that the top ones are the what? The experimental group, and the down ones are the control. Okay. Is that okay? So, so for example, the cigarette smokers, you take observation 1, you take the number of cigarettes they smoke in a day, right? Then you introduce an intervention X. Is that okay? And then after the intervention for some time, you take another observation 0, right? With this group, that's the control group, you see that there's no intervention, there's no S here, right? So for these people, you take their measurement, the number of cigarettes they smoke in a day, you don't give any intervention. Then you wait after you are, maybe a few months, 3 months. If you are going to take that, you take also this group to see that is it the intervention that is causing some people to stop smoking, or maybe they just normally they decided to stop smoking. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So the top ones are the experimental group, and the down O's are what? The control. So normally the control, you don't give them intervention. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So the explanation of the variables here, O1 indicate the first assessment, O2 indicate the second assessment with each group, and then the broken line, this one is broken line. What does it mean?
So that's the one that's not random?
Perfect.
Okay.
I like that. So the broken line means they are not randomly assigned. Wonderful. Jessica? Something not clicking?
If there's no broken line, then they are randomly assigned.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I like that you people understand. I'm just mentioning the names because I'm seeing some of them on the screen. So let me see. Okay. Oh, I still have some people here. Okay. Yeah, James, Wanda, any question, comments? Do you follow what we are doing?
I'm good.
Wonderful. Shauna?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm not following the broken line part. Can you re-explain that to me, please?
Wonderful. So when you see broken line, it means they are not randomly assigned.
I got
Is that
that,
okay?
but what do you mean? But where's the broken line? I don't understand that part.
So see, under the O, there's a line.
Yeah.
In between the 1 and X, there's a line.
Mm-hmm.
In between the X and O, there's a line. So it's it's not continuous.
As opposed to what? Is there an example with one that has like a continuous line?
Yeah, the continuous one means they are randomly assigned. We will get to that.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
And I mentioned that those on top are the experimental group, because the experimental group normally get the intervention, right? Michelle, are you following? Good. So the intervention group always, the experimental group always get the intervention. The non-experimental group don't get. Sonnet, is it good? Okay, excellent. Excellent. Oh, a lot of chats here. What's going on? Let me follow. Aha, okay, good, good, good. Yeah, good. I like that. Okay, wonderful. This also has some limitations, for example, with the design, and also sometimes the use of the placebo can influence the results, right? So let's take, for example, if I want to test the efficacy of some medicine, right? I will have two groups. One group, I'll consider them the experimental group after random assessment, right? And another group, I will consider them the control. But I will give them the medicine, right? I will not let them to know that this one is the rare medicine and this one is not the rare. Right? The reason being that, human being, if they know that they are the one taking the rare medicine, even if they are not well, they will say they are well. Right? Because they want you to, they want to please you. Is that all right? So they can say they are all right. The same way in the placebo, you realize that somebody who took the placebo, not the rare medicine, but because consciously the person thinks that he or she or they took the medicine, can claim to be well. Right? So the placebo can influence that. And we also have what we call the social desirability factor. So, for example, somebody wants to respond to the question in order to please you, right? So that's why we say in program evaluation or research, you don't have to let the participant know what you are thinking or what you are looking for, right? Because there is the danger they will respond to the question in order to please you rather than giving you the actual information that you are looking for. Are we good? Sonnet? Jessica, James? The rest of you, are we good?
Yes.
Okay, yes, Sonnet, you want to ask question? Yes, Sonnet, go ahead.
Sorry, I wasn't going to ask question. I was going to give a thumbs up.
Okay. All right, that's fine. So now the second quasi-experiment is what we call the time series design. For those of you who took the course last term, we did a time series. So time series is to observe a particular phenomenon and take data over time in order to know the trend, right? That's why we call single system research design as interrupted time series. Is that okay? So time series, normally, we use time series to know the trend of how things are going. So we take data, let's say, example of the burglary cases that we did last week, from January up to December. It will tell you whether the crime rate is increasing or decreasing, right? So that's an example of time series, and it's one of the quasi-experiment. And one of the advantages of it is that over some of the others is that it allows evaluator to detect trend. Is that okay? We know what is the trend. Is the issue or is the crime rate increasing or is the crime rate decreasing? And trend can be observed prior to and after the intervention. For those of you who remember what we did last week, right? The group one, you can see that the crime rate was increasing. And then we said the mayor introduced the intervention, right? You suggested interventions, policing, whatever. And then the group two, we noticed that the crime rate was what? Decreasing. So this is what the time series helped you to do. And often depicted as having 3 equal space observation prior to intervention and 3 observation post, intervention. So at least a minimum of 3 and minimum of 3 before and after should be able to. Why do you think it's a minimum of 3? Anyone?
Sorry, can you ask that again?
Why? It says often depicted as having 3 equal space observation prior to and the intervention, and then 3 observation post treatment. Why do you think that? Let me see. I got some. Let me see.
Is that for like continuity and ensuring that, one of the participants doesn't, fall off and you might have to bring somebody else in if you want to carry on with the experiment kind of thing?
Okay, it makes sense. But you need, let's say, the main reason is that you need about 3 points to be able to determine trend. Is that okay? So let's assume this is point 1. Is that okay? And then point 2 and point 3. What does this say? No. It didn't work the way I wanted.
So you can see like a gradual increase
Exactly.
or a gradual decrease.
Yes. So you can, that's why you need 3 point prior and 3 point, so that you'll be able to know whether it's increasing or it is decreasing.
And then, so further, like if you take those like numbers and make like, let's say a graph with that, would you be able to say, okay, so at point 3, it seems like 50% of our participants fell off. So would you explore why that happens at that critical time?
Absolutely.
Okay, gotcha.
Absolutely, yeah. So you need to determine the trend. How is it going, low or high, right? And so on and so forth. Okay, let me go and put this pencil back. All right.
Yeah, but you're measuring 3 points prior to the intervention. Without any intervention, that's pretty random.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so what kind of quality are you looking for, like in terms of the changes that occur without any intervention? Like, what's the purpose of the 3 measurements prior?
Wonderful, good question. Absolutely. So I want to know the trend of crime rates, let's say in Sault Mary. Is that all right? Before, then after I will introduce my intervention. Is that okay? So that before I introduce the intervention, I need to take data about a minimum of 3, right? Maybe January, February, March, before I introduce the intervention. Then I'm not saying only 3 because for this thing you can take many, but at least minimum, right? You need a minimum of 3 to be able to know the direction, right? So I take the data January, February, March. Then I say, oh, by looking at the trend, the crime rate is increasing because, let's say burglary cases was 10 in January, 15 in March, and 20, right? 15 in February and 20 in March. Now I know what the trend is. It's increasing. Then I will introduce intervention, maybe policing, right? Maybe employment training, maybe whatever. Then I'll wait for another 3 months, right? And go and take another minimum of 3 data points. Is that okay? So January, February, March. Then April, I introduce the intervention. Then I wait May, June, July. I'll go and take a minimum of 3 to be able to know that is the intervention working or not? James? James?
Yeah, I
Is
I
it,
got it,
is it?
and I hear you. I hear
Okay,
you.
perfect.
I just I'm just hearing really there's a minimum of 3, so you can see the trend. Then
Exactly.
you can put the
Yeah.
appropriate intervention in. It might be more severe, the intervention, depending on the trend.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay, so
Thank
let's
you.
quickly. So, yeah, the design relies on longitudinal, meaning you take the data continuously. So this is the diagram of the time series. You see, observation 1, observation 2, observation 3, and observation N. What does it mean?
Isn't that the population?
Yes, the population. Is that okay? So the N here meaning, assuming I'm taking up to 10, but I don't want to write observation 1 up to 10, then I'll put up to N. So the N here means 10 data points. Is that okay? Then I introduce the intervention. And then after the intervention, what I'm going to take is N plus 1, N plus 2, that's up to the measurement. So where O1 to ON are the pre-treatment measurements. What is the treatment? The treatment is S, right? So when we talk about pre-treatment, before the intervention, do you get that? Okay, yeah. So treatment is the same as intervention for those who are confused. So that's it.
What's the K?
Yeah, so then let me see, 1, 2, 3, up to, then K will represent up to the number I want to take. Is that okay? Let's say I'm taking up to, let's say, because the K here represent, you see here 1, this 2, I can go 3, 4, up to 5, but I want to cut it short. So I made it K, meaning up to the number that I want.
So K is essentially just a placeholder. It doesn't mean anything to
Placeholder,
K.
absolutely.
It's just a placeholder to identify that you're going to go N plus whatever number it is to get to a certain number of observations.
Absolutely. Do you get that? Why are you confused? So, you mentioned N here as what? Look at here. You mentioned N here as the population, right? So meaning N here represent placeholder. Is that okay? So if I'm taking the data from 1 up to 30, means the N here will be up to the 30th point. And here, because I'm using N plus 1, N plus 2, then the K here will be up to the another point that I'm going to take. Shona? So let me know, what don't you understand?
Can you, I don't know if you could give a better example. It's just not clicking at all.
For me, my question is, how do we know what that N and that K is representing? Like, if you just gave me that sentence right there, how do I know what the definitive ending is? Like, is there like a sidebar where it would say N equals, like, I'm so confused.
Wonderful, absolutely. If, for example, I am going to give you that, I can give you where N is equal to 30, right? So it means that you take from data from 1 up to 30. But in graph or whatever, you can't, write up to 30. So you use the N to be a placeholder, N to be the placeholder. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like a legend on the side of this research, and it'll tell me in the legend or something that N equals.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it will tell you, yeah. And the same way, here too, you see it's going from plus 1, plus 2, because I can't say plus N again, because already we are using N. So we use this K as a placeholder. It doesn't make any difference. So I can issue that maybe K is also 20. So you take up to 20 data points.
Oh, okay. Okay, I get it now.
Okay. All right. So that's it. So it's also have some, it is also useful when finding non-equivalent control group in a problem and often design of choice when evaluating an impact of a new legislation, right? And subject to problem with internal validity and cannot conclude observation alone accounted for the changes. Normally, this statement is to just sound a caution, right? Because we want to avoid what we call type 1 or type 2 errors, as we mentioned last week. So that. These are, you see, we are going more into complex one. So when you look at this, what is the difference between this and that? Who can tell me?
So would the top row be the not random assigned group, and then the bottom's like the controlled group?
Absolutely. So the only difference with this is that, see, this one no control.
Yes.
They didn't use control, but this one, multiple time series use control.
Yes.
Do you get a point?
Yeah.
So this is the explanation here. S01 to 3 are pre-intervention treatments, and then 04 to 5 are what? Who can tell me?
Post-intervention?
Yeah, post-intervention treatment.
Okay.
Is anybody having any difficulty? These are very simple.
So going off of this example here, say instead of 3, it's 100. Would it be 01020N?
Yes,
And
where
then
N
on
is
the
100.
side in the legend, it'll say N equals 100.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, Jessica. Good.
So for the top ones, I understand that the X is the intervention. So
Yes.
before C, 1, 2, and 3 is pre, and 4, 5, 6 is post intervention.
Absolutely.
But for the other ones, 0 to 3, there's no intervention, so it's not pre or post.
So it's that. So that's why we call them what? How can we call them?
No, so the controlled group is the one
Control. They are
that
control.
introduced to an intervention.
Oh,
So the
yeah.
experimental group has the intervention and the control group has no intervention. Is that right?
Absolutely right.
Oh, I see. Thank you.
Perfect.
This is why I ask a million questions.
That's good.
I understand now.
Your questions are helping others to understand, right? To follow. So that's it. James, are we good? Let me see. Those that I can see.
It's awesome, Dr. Demi.
Wonderful. Amoy, is it okay? Is it good?
Yes.
Wonderful. Amy? Kenzie? Justin? Michelle?
I think I'm
Wonderful.
following. I hope I am.
Wonderful. Okay.
Same
So
here.
S represent intervention, and 04 to 06, which is the top one here, are post-treatment measurements, and then 01 to 6, which are the bottom here, are what we call bottom group non-intervention control group measures. So I've defined all the category here. Are you good?
Yes.
Yes, Kenzie.
So I think the part that I'm the most confused on is the bottom numbers, where you say they're the non-intervention control group. So can you put that in an example of a study for me? Which group of people that'd be referring to? Like the people not a part of this the study? Like I don't understand where that number is coming from.
Wonderful. So you see, let's assume that these are people who are chain smokers, right? And I want to test them. And we have, let's say, 12 people, right? We have 12 people. So I want to divide them into 6. One will get a nicotine patches as the experimental group. One do not get any treatment. Kenzie, are you following?
Yep, I'm following.
And when you see the broken lines, it means that I just put them into group without random method. So I just say, you sis go here, you sis go here. Meaning that I didn't give them each member equal opportunity to group them. Then when I group them 6 and 6 here, what I did was that I took data 1, 2, 3. Maybe let's say from January, I took data of how many cigarettes did each person smoke. Then February, how many cigarettes did each person smoke? And March, how many cigarettes did each person smoke? The top one. Are you following me, Kenzie?
I think so. So you're saying that they're separated into 3 groups. It's randomized.
It's
And
not randomized because the broken line says, when you see broken lines, it means it's not randomized.
it's not randomized. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And
So
then so the first 0 you have there, 0, 1. They're getting
that's the data I took, first data. Maybe let's say February. I took data and know how many cigarettes did each person smoke in February. Do you get that?
Yes. Okay. You can keep going now. I got it.
Then the March, I took another data. How many cigarettes did each person smoke? And then March, I took data again. Then April, I introduced intervention to this group. So I gave them nicotine patches. Is that okay? Then that's April. So May, June, July, I took another set of data. I want to come and observe, has there been decrease in the number of cigarettes, they smoke after the intervention, after giving them nicotine patches? But this group, these are the control group. I didn't give them any intervention. All that I did was I took data of how many cigarettes did they smoke in January, February, and March. I didn't give them any intervention. I waited. Then May, June, July, I took another intervention. So I want to compare. If, for example, those who get the intervention, I realized that the number of cigarettes they took decreased. And then when I look at the control, I don't see any decrease before and after. Then I can assume that it's maybe because of the nicotine patches that I gave them. That is why they decreased the number of cigarettes they smoked. Did you get that?
Yeah. So then my second question is in every point of research, is there a control group, or is there sometimes not a control group?
No. We only use control when we do experiment.
Okay, thank you.
So we only use control when we are doing experiment. But in any other research, we don't use control normally. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Anybody? Are you all good? Hey, I'm mindful of time. Let me wrap up quickly. All right. So, these are just information with design. Then protection against alternative explanation. So, we mentioned the fact that we have to be cautious in, assigning or assuming that our intervention is the only reason why maybe there was decrease or not, and so on and so forth. So in order to protect that, the best protection is to control for alternative explanation, meaning that when you use the control, then you will be able to compare the control group with the non-control group and be able to establish your fact. Yes, Ashley.
I was just going to say, so like to build incentives to like combat people like diverging from the research itself is like you'll only receive $500 if you complete this from A to B kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then people don't want to mess up the experiment because they want that cash incentive.
But another danger is that cash incentive can also cause people to mess up with the experiment. So, for example, somebody who, at the normal circumstances, doesn't want to perform, but because of the money, the person can say, okay, 500, I'll take part, and then distort the information altogether. But what I mean here is that if you want to reduce alternative explanation, it is best to use control, right? So that you can compare the experimental group with the control group. If you see any difference in the experimental group, then you can assume that, okay, it's because of the intervention that I provided. Are we good?
Yeah, if you add cash, then isn't that an intervention?
No, it depends on what you are doing, because cash, depending on, for example, even the amount involved,
I'm
right?
just saying that's going to influence what somebody does, though, right? That's an intervention.
Yes.
Yeah,
but is that what you are looking for?
no,
That's another point.
Let's forget about my cash comment to like not confuse people. Like I feel like this is already confusing enough. Forget I even mentioned cash.
Yeah, so I mean the best way is to use control. When you use control, then you can compare the result within the control and the result within the experiment so that you can make a judgment. Is that okay, James?
Oh yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Made possible by anticipating kind of problem that may be encountered, build incentives to combat mortality. Okay, so here is where maybe actually is coming. Coming in. So, for example, the mortality. Mortality is when people drop out from the experiment. Is that okay? Assuming I have success group, and then some people say, "Oh no, I want to leave." Then when you give incentives like something. Maybe when you finish the experiment, you are going to get this one. Maybe the person will stay till the end. So that is how actually, and then James, your point can come in. But the money itself is not an intervention. It's an incentive to make the participant remain in the experiment. Is that okay?
Oh, I agree 100%. I just think that if you're partway through the experiment and then there's an introduction or an advisement of money, then that becomes an intervention. But having at the end, I mean, we do that in terms of research that I've done in the past to be able to give $50 cards out to individuals who have shown up and participated for 3 or 4 consecutive times. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's mean you want to remove the mortality, right? Reduce people from dropping out of the experiment or the program. Are we good? And also, another way you can protect, for example, the internal validity is to ensure that the group are similar or as soon as possible, right? For example, if you take chain smokers in one group and less smokers in another, I mean, already there's distortion in the what we call the group, so it may reflect on the result, and you may not get the accurate result as you want. And use rigorous design, right? For example, the experimental design, not the quasi-experiment. Then develop sensitivity for factors that can influence result. So anything that can influence result. So in terms of the cash, if you give too much cash, it can influence result. And if you don't give, it can also cause people to drop out. So you have to manage how to be able to, do it in a way that will ensure that your experiment will go to the end. Do you need another 5 minute break?
Are we gonna have enough time to finish if we take a break?
Okay. Do you want a break or not?
Keep going. I just keep going.
All right. So we are going to the last segment, which is the experimental design, which is the classic. Is that right? What do you think makes the experimental design the classic one? Or the standard one?
Most used?
Most use, yeah, makes sense. It's mostly used because of its effectiveness, right? And what else?
Would it be the most cost effective?
Cost effective?
Because you're not introducing a whole separate group, like a controlled group and controlled circumstances and all of that.
I like where you are coming from, your answers. But the key point is that with the experimental group, it uses random sampling. You know, the other ones we said they didn't use random because of the broken lines. Is that okay? The experimental group is considered a standard because it used control and it also used random sampling. Is that okay? That makes it clear. So it is more rigorous than the other ones. And then participants are randomly assigned to either intervention or control. Do you get a point? Uh-huh. Oh, I can see a lot of tests here. Let me read some of them. Okay. Chidima, is it a question? How do you know if you want to conduct experimental research? Is that a question or? Okay. Then allow evaluator to assume group are equivalent at the start of the study, but not guarantee that it is true. Okay, that's information for you. So let's look at this example of the experimental design. So you see R in front of the what? The observation. What does it mean? What does R mean?
Randomly assigned.
Yes, the R means randomly assigned. Yes. Sonnet, do you have a question? Okay. So
that's what I was going to say the same thing randomly.
So with the experimental design, there are no broken lines. Means R instead of the broken line, we represent here R means randomly assigned. So O1 will be what? Anyone?
Observation. First
One.
observation.
Exactly. O2 is, S is what?
The intervention.
The intervention, absolutely. And then O2 is what?
Post-intervention.
Post-intervention. You now understand everything. I'm happy for everybody. I'm sure everybody understands. All right. So let's look at the bottom one. The bottom one, what can we call the bottom ones? The RO02.
The randomly assigned controlled group.
Perfect. Perfect. Randomly assigned control group. I hope everything is clear now. So these are the explanation. I'll be giving you the explanation. Okay. Let's run quickly. So, comparability or similar of the group is much more likely to occur if the population is large and the size of each group reaches or exceed 25 to 20%. And if the sample is small, then even random assessment may not produce equivalence, and many possible distributions could occur, such as outlier or whatever. So what we are saying is that when you are using random sampling is good, but of course the population should also be sizable. Is that okay? At least 25 to 30 thereabout. If it is less, right? If the population is less, then it means the random sampling cannot yield the result that you want, because there's a likelihood of some outliers, right, falling in some places. Okay. So let's look at example of the experimental design. We have post-test control group design, so which is the modification of the basic experimental design and useful when a pretest is not possible, right? In a situation when you cannot conduct a pretest, or the information is not there for you to use. And it has advantage when matching pretest with post-test is not possible. And random assignment or assignment establish equivalent between the controlled and experimental group, and the measurement of control serve as pretest for the comparison with the experimental group that's post-test. So these are just basic information explaining what this stands for. Look at the design of this. Who can tell me what does it mean?
So there wasn't a pretest, and they're randomly assigned, but it starts with the intervention and then the observation follows.
Excellent. Excellent.
And then the bottom is the controlled, randomly assigned, no intervention, and just observation.
Perfect. So that's it. Right? So I think this is self-explanatory. The second one is what we call the Solomon 4 group design. Yes, so next, okay, it's thumbs up. All right. So this one is more elaborate form of experimental design, and it requires two groups receive treatment and two groups becomes control. Is that okay? And two groups are given pre-test, but all four groups are administered the post-test. Very vigorous because it allows evaluator and group great deal of control and increase the confidence. Let's go directly to the Solomon group to see. Is there any explanation you can give here? By looking at the diagram.
So, like the first one is randomly assigned, given an observation, pre-test, then an intervention, then a post-test. And then
Wonderful.
The second is randomly assigned, pre-test, no intervention, post-test.
Wonderful.
Third one is randomly assigned, straight to intervention and observation, post-test. And then the final is no pre-test, no intervention, and strictly just post-test.
Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent. Are you all following? Yeah, excellent. She did excellent. So this one, you have four groups. Yeah, Kenzie, your question.
Sorry. Yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm understanding the numbers underneath the O there. So that is there was two sets of observations, or can you just explain the hanging numbers for me one more time? Sorry.
Okay, wonderful. So we have two groups that receive intervention. Is that okay? And two groups didn't receive intervention. That's one. Two groups receive post-test and pre-test, but two groups receive only post-test, no pre-test. So when you look at A is group 1, which are randomly assigned, all of them randomly assigned. But in group 1A, receive, pre-test and intervention and post-test. Then we come to B. B, randomly assigned, got the pre-test, but no intervention. Right? We didn't provide intervention to this one. And then got post-test. When you come to C belongs to the category that no C and D, no post-test, pre-test, but one received intervention before post-test and other one they did not receive. Did it make sense?
Yes and no. I'm not sure that I fully understand why there's a 1 on the first 0, but a 2 on the second.
The number just corresponds with the observation. So like that's the one.
That's the second test, or the second observation.
Yeah, O2 would be the second observation, and O3 would be the third observation.
But it's the same group of people you're observing each time, yes?
No, it's group of people that you divided into 4 groups.
Right. Okay. Yes.
Aha.
Thank you. I'm following.
Aha. Wonderful. So let's say 20 people. Then you divide 5, 5, 5. Is that okay? One group, you give them, all of them randomly assigned. But one group, you give them post-test intervention and then, pre-test intervention and post-test. Another group, you give them pre-test, no intervention, but post-test. Then the third group, no pre-test, there was intervention, and then post-test. And then the last group, no, pre-test, no intervention, only post-test. So you are, it's like a permutation, right? You divide it into 4 groups. You want to see the outcome that will, come out from the, every other discussion. Oh, what's that? Okay.
So A is group 1, B is group 2, all the way to 4 groups. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Wonderful. I'm happy you people for asking questions. Okay, what's that? So, one advantage of this is that any influence of the testing can be identified because 2 of the 4 groups are tested only once and then rarely used in programming. This one is more complex or rarely used, but it's very effective. Randomized control trial are becoming increasingly common with the social work and this just information. So let's look at, we are wrapping up, efficacy and effectiveness of a study, right? Group experiment design have been critiqued as not reflecting the real life, virtues of practice, and then contended that the findings of these studies cannot be generalized to apply to real life, and one way to initially test the effectiveness of program is to make the study as clean as possible by reducing noise and confusion. So basically, they are telling us about some of the limitation of the experimental design. We mentioned that is the golden standard. Is that okay? But in practicality, right? In practicality, how does it work? For example, with our, and one thing that we have to be mindful is that, you see, in the laboratory, when you are performing experiments, you can control temperature, you can control humidity, you can control so many things, but human being cannot be controlled, right? So normally in experiment, we say all things being equal, but of course, nothing remains equal because it's a human nature. People or humans change with time. So that's just basically what I want you to know. These are, directly, you can just read these ones. And let's look at what about negative outcome studies. Okay, one result indicate intervention as either no effect or negative effect. Intervention may be truly ineffective. Check to see if treatment fidelity was maintained and look at the experimental, the treatment compliance. So basically what we are saying is that, is it the case that sometimes you conduct an experiment and you get negative results? Yes, it happens. And when it happens, what do? You have to look at certain things. Probably you didn't follow the step-by-step way of doing things, or the intervention may be truly ineffective. Is that okay? It's one possibility. And then the third is that check to see whether you maintain, right? You follow the, step-by-step way of, doing things. Verify competence of service providers. So sometimes you may want to look at the people who provide the services. Are they competent enough? Right? You may design a very good program, but if those who are providing the services are not competent, they will compromise the quality or the effectiveness of the program. Conduct, reliability check on your data. So sometimes, in collecting data, we can type something wrong, typo, right? I'm typing maybe a data 20, and then I added another 0, 200. This is an outlier. right? And it can tilt the result. So normally what you do is that go through the data again. Make sure everything is, the right place. What is that? A note about the term experiment. These are just reading. Term has become virtually synonymous with the stages used in random control. And I think I was trying to focus on the diagrams. And then these are just raw information that you can have. What is an evaluation? Not when is an evaluation not needed? So, for example, when there's no question about the program and the decision that have already been made, when the program has no clear orientation, when people who should know cannot agree on what the program is trying to achieve, and when there's no enough money or staff sufficient qualified to conduct evaluation, but don't use that as an excuse to say because of we don't have money or something. So no, ideally, as social workers, every service that we provide, we should from time to time conduct those evaluations to see the effectiveness, right? These are some of the excuses people give, but I don't think you will do that. This brings us to the end of long winding nights.
Oh my
Any
God,
questions?
we did it. Hallelujah.
Long winding nights. So finally, we are done. Any questions, comments?
No, I actually feel good after all of those
Wonderful.
examples. Yeah.
Wonderful. You need this when you are doing your master's or whatever, or when you are employed in a position that require you to do evaluation, you come back to thank me for that. So yes, baby Green.
Oh,
Any question?
sorry. It's me, Chidema. I don't know why this all this happened. Okay. I know. I put a question in the chat. Probably could have answered it when I got disconnected. Before I log in. So my question
Okay, I
was
didn't
like.
even see.
My question was like, how do you know when to conduct research and when you're doing experiment? Like, how do you know when to do each? Or when you are doing,
When do you do either research or experiment?
Yes, and do you know that this is a research and this is an experiment?
Oh, okay. I mean, it's a good question. It depends on what the question is, the research question is. Is that okay? So, for example, if I state, what is the effect of textbook on student performance? Is that right? I will be able to get concrete results if I conduct, let's say, experiment. Because I can say that, when I gave textbook to these students, their performance improved by so and so. If I should go and interview them, what do you think textbook help? I will just make an assumption, but I don't have a concrete data to for example, back it down. Let me give you a typical example. If you want to test whether people abuse drugs, there are two options. One, you conduct urine tests, and two, you conduct interview with the participant. Which one do you think will produce the best results?
Sorry, come again.
You want to test whether somebody is taking drugs. Is that okay? Or abusing drugs. You have two options. One, conduct urine tests. So you test the urine of the individual for a period of time. The another point is to interview the individual. Which one do you think can give you the accurate results?
Urine test.
Why?
Because from the urine test, like you're going to dictate the amount, if there's any strange thing, any foreign thing in the urine.
Absolutely.
So there's no manipulation. But if it's an interview, the person can be taking rap and tell you, I don't take.
Yes. So if for this particular example that I gave you, if you want accurate results, then of course the experiment is the best option, right?
Okay.
But of course, you can also conduct a test like a research to know how do people behave. I mean, you ask them, but you cannot put concrete, what do you call, your thumb on it that I got the actual, results and so on and so forth. So that's why we say experiment is the like golden standard. Although I have some questions around that. Okay, excellent. Elaine.
Hi, Professor.
Okay.
I just had a question in regards to the assignment that's due tonight. I
Okay.
know that last semester you used to like us submitting our assignments with the first letter of our first name and a couple of the letters of our last name. Did you want us submitting it?
Yeah, this one, because it's a group, so I mean, I'm not particular about that, but if the group leader can submit with the last name, that should be fine. But no requirement. It's not a requirement.
Okay. And then you
Wonderful.
also wanted it, did you want it as a doc or PDF? I couldn't remember if you said it.
Word document.
Okay. Was it okay to submit it with a PDF as well? Because I know that there was issues with Word docs being uploaded to
No problem. When you submit both, I'll grade the what do you call it? The word.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Professor.
With the bright space, when we download, it comes as a folder, right? Every assignment comes as a folder, so we don't have any issue with, changing the format or whatever in the right format. So thank you for thanking me. Oh, I saw some. I've taken the attendance, by the way, but Chidima, you said you are the baby green, right? Okay, let's call it a day. It's night. Go and have rest. I wish you a happy reading week. I'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Dr. Demi.
Professor Demi.
Thank you, Professor.
And try to do self-care as much as you can to ease off.
And I'll give you 1 day extension so you can submit up to Friday evening, okay?
Thank you so much.
So, yeah, that's fine.
Good night.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Oh, let me pause the recording. What's that? Where is it? Am I recording or not?
It's recording. It's recording.
Yeah, I'm recording. Okay, wonderful. Okay, stop sharing first. Then stop recording.